Hola, hola, and bienvenidos familia. Welcome back to Tech and Tequila. This is the podcast where technology meets comunidad, aka community, and of course, tech with con corazón, so tech with heart. I'm your host and your Techie Chica Kat Lopez-Shelby. And when I originally was planning on recording this, I was straight off of a trip to Midland where I was at for a cafecito con coats. And I would be not doing, I would say, my proper duty, if I didn't mention that we will be having two more events. So we will have one this December 11th. So check out the socials at Shelby Tech Solutions. And of course, on December 18th, we will have some other events. So this is just one of the ways that, as I said, technology meets comunidad. So today's episode is all about AI agents. So grab your glass or mixed drink with tequila and grab your paper and pen, because we are going to go over everything that you need to think about. Like, these are questions, things that, help you come up with the idea or come up with, I would say, the right discussion points. If you are a business owner or you are the person that a business has said, hey, I know we need to do something. And you're thinking, I know we need AI. I just don't know which one. Our team has tried a bot and you know what? It doesn't work. It's not working for us. Then today's episode is all for you. Now, and that is because I'm going to tell you something that is extremely verdad, something's truth. AI usually does not fail because of the tool. It fails because certain people skip the most important step, and that is asking the right questions before they buy, build, or deploy. So in this episode, I'm going to walk you through some of the questions that we go over during our AI agent matchmaking session, and I'll explain why do these questions matter, what it unlocks, and how you can protect your time and, of course, protect your brand. Well, of course, we all want to work smarter, not harder. And stay until the end, because I'm also going to tell you who this session is perfect for and who it's not for, and why booking now matters, especially, obviously, because everybody wants to start out January on the right foot. We wouldn't have January resolutions if not, but because our price is going to go up in January. I'll give you a little, I would say, teaser, so to speak. But before we get into the carne y papas of this episode, let's talk about what I have in my glass today, which you can see. I got my super glass, and because unfortunately I am unable to record in the co-working space or any of my normal spaces because it's cold outside, and co-working has decided that they are going to blast Christmas music apparently until Christmas. Salud. So today what I have is I am pouring up some El Mágico tequila. And this one is a whole vibe because, of course, it's Christmas time. It's the Christmas magic. It's the holiday magic. But why is this a vibe? Because it's smooth, it's celebratory, and it is the kind of tequila that reminds you good things happen when you slow down long enough to taste the moment. So let's all pause for a sip. You grab your drink. I'll grab mine. That is good. It's got a little bit of kick, but nothing too terrible. Like I said, just the perfect amount. Smooth. And here's why I picked Mexico for today's episode. Because choosing the right AI agent is kind of like choosing the right tequila. If you just grab whatever's trending, you might end up with something that you're not too fond of, you might regret, or like myself, one time gifted something to somebody thinking, oh, this is really cool because it's made in Austin. And it is cool because it's made in Austin. But out of the options, I mean this from the bottom of mi corazón, that stuff tasted medicinal. When I tasted, I was like, ooh, we cannot do that again. So you want your tequila familia to be smooth, to be something so celebratory. And Mexico is the kind of tequila that reminds you that good things happen. I want all of you to check it out. The bottle is beautiful. Like it has the same beauty that I really like with some of like the other bottles. Like it is gorgeous, has a little eye of protection on it. You got some hands. It really leans into the name. So Pick it up. You can Google it online. I think I picked this bad boy up at Specs, but you know what? Pick it up wherever you have. So now we're going to talk about the questions that help you choose the right AI on purpose, on brand, and with results that what we can measure. All right, familia, let's get into it. So let's start quickly. So if you have not heard about our AI matchmaking session, you may be wondering, what is this? You know, why can't I just pick a random chatbot? And what our AI matchmaking session is a done for you strategy call where we match the right AI agent to your customer journey, your team capacity, to your systems, and your brand voice. Because what most businesses do is they do this backwards. They see the tool, they love the chatbot, they love whatever it is, and then try to force it into their business. Or let's say they have this amazing relationship with somebody and they're like, hey, we've got this AI, give it a try, without having a full, and I want to say solution-based discussion, which to me is a little bit of an oversimplification. But what we do in this session is we want to do this the smart way, because like I said, everybody wants to work smarter, not harder. So we're going to go, what is the outcome you want? What does this journey look like? The placement, the agent type, the guardrails, the metrics, and of course, create a simple roadmap for you. So you walk away with the best fit agent type. So what does that mean? That means, are we looking for web chat? Are we looking for voice? Are we looking for SMS, for WhatsApp? Are we going to integrate this with your inbox, your help desk? What type of software solutions? And of course, we're going to look at your internal ops as well. We're going to come up with a prioritized list of use cases. So these are the things that you say, all right, let's go through. Here's how we want to use this. Here's where we think it'll fit best. And you pick A, B, C, D, E. And of course, a clear 3 to 5 step, here's what to do next plan. It's not too techie. We're not going to overwhelm you. We're going to make it very super simple. And while I'm not super in love with doing the, KISS, the keep it simple, stupid, because I don't think that people are innately stupid, so we're not going to use that, but we want to keep it simple. Okay. So we're going to go over one of the questions that we would ask during this session, and that is, what do you want to be easier in 30 days? Keeping in mind, and I think this will drop either this Friday or next Tuesday, so we only have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 Mondays in the rest of the year. So here's what it is. If AI worked perfectly for you in 30 days, what is easier, right? So what I'm looking at is real life things in your business. And obviously we're going to talk about points of pain, but are you missing leads because y'all are too slow to reply? Or you're drowning in, direct messages, you're drowning in emails, or my team is answering these same questions all day long. Or we keep dropping the ball after the first call. Maybe we need to go in, and this is kind of falls under AI and automate, but maybe we need to automate your follow-up so that you're not dropping these. And or my personal favorite, when I talk to some doctor's offices, anybody who has schedules appointments, right? Whether that is your coach that you're talking to, or that is your hairdresser, or it's a doctor, it's I'm still doing scheduling and following up at midnight. Or I still have a dedicated staff member that is literally all they do. I would say, or I hear a lot, well, my receptionist, we try to get her to send out reminder calls and do this, or we have software, but not everybody's bought in. There's so many different things. So why does this matter? And that is because AI isn't a goal, it's a tool. The goal is time saved, leads captured, revenue protected, customer experience improved, right? And I know I've talked about this in several different episodes, but really what you want to do is you want to think about where to meet your clients, meet your customers. What do they prefer? You know, do they want to be more text message? Do they want to go on a website, or do they want to talk, like have an AI agent talk to them? So here we go. Grab your note app, and I want you to write one sentence down, or your pen and paper. If we're doing it viejita escuela. If AI could take one thing off my plate, it would be blank. That sentence is the beginning of your AI strategy, right? So I see a lot of times businesses spend money on AI because they think that's the thing to do. But when you start asking them like, okay, why did you pick this? And this can be universal for different solutions. They can't answer why they picked it. Or they're like, well, so-and-so, my particular ISP said this is a great way to go. You know, this is what's going to work. But the AI agent or the AI that they're utilizing becomes another thing to manage instead of it creating relief. Not to mention that it's not just about managing. If somebody gets something and they're not utilizing it, it's just one more thing, right? And in a previous episode, we talked about the fact that a lot of times you have shadow IT, right? And they're using some type of AI that they think is wonderful and great. And then you have this branded AI that nobody's using because it's clunky or it's not really working within your network infrastructure. So obviously the goal is, I want you to go back to that question. So if AI could take one thing off my plate, it would be, think about it. What is it? Now, here's another question that we would ask. Walk me through your customer journey. So I want you to think about this. How do your clients interact with you? You know, where do customers fall off? Like maybe you're like, where do people get stuck or where do they disappear? And so what we're going to map out is like, okay, here's the first touch. Here's the conversation. Here's normally what happens. Is this a book call? Is this a follow-up message? Or is this filling out some kind of form, you know, to proposal, to close? What does onboarding look like? What does support look like? And of course, repeat. Why does this matter? AI works best where momentum dies, right? So this is where something's moving along, it's steady, and then bloop, boomba. It's like being ghosted. Nobody likes to be ghosted, right? That's where your bleeding time or money is quietly going away. So I want you to think about some of the examples we have interacted with our clients with. You're getting a ton of traffic, but you're not getting bookings. So why are you not getting bookings? You know, what is your AI agent needs? Your AI agent needs to convert these. So they need to answer certain questions? Do they need to do additional follow-up? Do they need to make booking easy? And I'm going to tell you from experience, because sometimes I am all about getting things out, because done imperfectly is better than sitting out here and not done. But the caveat to that is some people, all they want to do is click a button, schedule something, and go forward. Like they don't want to have to email. They don't want to have to click too many things, right? Let's say people book, but the proposals stall. So maybe you need an AI agent that supports follow-up and objections. And maybe you have a list of common objections that you get or common concerns. And then let's talk about what is really important once they sign on that dotted line, or they say, hey, I love this, let's move forward. And that is, what if your onboarding is messy, right? You may want an internal ops agent to collect information, route tasks, and standardize steps, okay? So here's another thing. Get your notepad out, pen and paper, write down 2 numbers, okay? I want you to write down the leads that you get in a week, and then I want you to write down leads that actually turn into book calls, because that gap is your AI opportunity zone, right? Okay, so this one is one of those, I almost say it's like a no-brainer. Like we always see FAQs, frequently asked questions, but if your agent can answer those questions and more fluid or someone can quickly put something in. People love that. So I want you to ask yourself, what are the top 10 questions that we get asked over and over again? Because these questions are your training fuel. They tell us what customers need to feel safe, informed, and ready to move forward. So why does this matter? If a question is asked repeatedly, it should not live, number one, inside your brain or your team Slack forever. It should become a system. And for anybody in this day and age that is doing research or trying to figure out who they want to go through, it should be simple, like absolutely simple, right? So of course, FAQs that are gold, and this is things to put on your website, things to use a chatbot for. I mean, the list can go on and on. Pricing ranges, hours of availability, service area, what happens after I book, how long does it take? Set those expectations, people. We all want to what? Under promise and over deliver. I know if you have been about, I want to say around the block, because apparently I've turned into Kalo from the block now. But if you have been around the block for a while, we have all heard the term, we want to under promise but over deliver, right? Do you offer payment plans? What do I need to prepare for our meeting? This one's huge because I want you to think about, is there information or items that a client can gather, right? That they need to have for this. So, this can be that case where you set up where you have a drop down that says, hey, thank you so much for booking a meeting with me. For our first meeting, be prepared with the following information. And that way they know, look this information up. Or for some of those who are like, I don't know where any of this is. I really don't know. So gives them that opportunity, right? And here's a little mini tip I want you to know. If you have an FAQ section on like the last page or somewhere that's hard to find, or it's not on your main page, let's just say, you are missing conversions. And so what you want is your AI is going to bring you your FAQs into the moment when the customer is ready for it. And there's some really great things. I definitely will have this person on my podcast in the very near future. But when you are going through and you are training your AI agent, it's so fun and fascinating to work with these, because they'll be like, oh, to book here, and go through and have the AI agent be what would work better for you. And it's awesome. I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay. Now we're going to talk about, I would say the nitty gritty, but let's talk about, where does your information live, right? Where does your customer's information live right now? If we mark the spot, we say, here is where it is, right? Is it living on a website, a CRM, a phone system, a booking tool, in the emails, DMs, our help desk, or a spreadsheet or a SharePoint? Where does it live? Whatever it is, right? Why does this matter? Agents, they're not magic. There's no Patronus, Luminos, maybe. They're meant to be teammates, and teammates need access to these playbooks. This is also where we can avoid, I know you heard it on last week's episode, and I'm sure you're tired of me saying this, but I can't help it. Innovation theater, because we want to avoid that. You don't want innovation theater. You want stuff that works, right? So you know what that looks like. Pretty demo. We've all been here. We've had a beautiful demo. It's all seemed great. You go to let's try it out. There's no integration. There's no adaptation. And now you're not getting the results that you want. And that's not what we want. Nobody wants that. You want things to work, And I was going to say, I had this, a while back, where I had a client that had stepped into this because they're B2B. And they had thought, oh my gosh, I love this. This AI is going to work perfect. It's great. And needless to say, it didn't. There were some bumps along the way. The AI was built to use a particular system, not the system that they use. So they had to open up and get new emails just for the AI agent. not that's a terrible thing to do, because as some people will tell you, it's always good to have a separate domain so you don't get blocked. That's a whole side note. We can go into that later. But the thing is that it did not work. And, luckily they did do the trial. So they weren't like signing on the dotted line and then doing it for months and months and months. But it's still a bummer, right? So we choose an approach based on reality. All right. And let's talk about that. If your systems are clean or you know where stuff is, we can do smarter automations for that. If your systems are messy, we can help design a simpler agent role first. So that's capture, route, summarize, and handoff, right? And some businesses really don't need the most advanced AI. We don't always need the bells and the whistles, right? Not everybody needs to have I think of some of the basics. Like I work with some companies where there is somebody to answer the phone 24 hours, 7 days a week, or they have an answering service, right? And that's how they want to go. They don't have a need to have everything routed 18 different ways. They don't. What they need is consistency. And that is what most businesses need with AI. They need consistent AI, something that shows up every time the same way, and of course, on brand, and gets the user to the next step. All right. So we have to ask, right? We gotta set them boundaries, because boundaries are not just important in business life, your personal life, everywhere, but they are important for your AI agent as well. And so one of the questions we ask is, what can the agent not do? And you may wonder why. Well, let's be real, guys. We got security, we got compliance, we got brand voice. And this is where we set guardrails. So what you never want it to say, right? We're not building some AI that turns into, let's not say history repeat itself or technology repeat itself, but we all know a particular AI agent that suddenly turns something overnight. That was because the guardrails were taken off. You got to keep them guardrails on. What requires human approval? Sensitive topics. I kind of think of this as like sentiment. Like, is there something that's being asked that this really needs to be addressed by someone with a pulse that can really, I hate to say take a pulse, but take a pulse on the situation. And then, of course, what are your compliance? What are your regulation or privacy needs? And I would say I want to say it's very important, because we talk a lot about customer experience, but what are the escalation rules? Like when something's not going great, how do we do it? So obviously guardrails are here to protect your brand, your customers. They also protect you from your AI going haywire. And like I said, we're not going to name names, but I'm sure that we all saw it on the news, an AI that sort of went rogue and started being cray-cray for a little while. So what I want you to say, this is a brand moment, right? So I want you to think about your brand. Think about your company, who you are as a brand. Should it sound like me? Well, more like if I say it, should it sound like Kat? What does my brand mean? Is that warm? Are we going to be bilingual? Are we direct, or are we funny? Because if your AI agent sounds cold, robotic, or off brand, people feel instantly turned off. And you don't want them to be turned off about your business, right? You only get what? How many chances to make a first impression? Uno más. One chance, right? Okay. So I know we talked about it earlier, but these are one of the questions that we go through. And that is, how will we know if this is working? How do we measure success? Okay. Now, we don't necessarily need a complicated dashboard. Let's talk about simple metrics. Are we getting faster first response times? Are there more leads being captured? Do we have more booked appointments? And if we have more booked appointments, are we having more booked appointments where they're keeping their appointment and some of the pre-stuff has already gone? Are we having fewer missed calls? Are we having fewer repetitive tickets? Are we able to save hours in the week? Are we showing up at an improved rate? Like, do we have an improved follow-up? And why does this matter? Because if you don't define working, you might feel disappointed, even if there is progress happening. Because we got to take a ruler out and measure what's going on. Everybody wants to know, is this working? Because even if you move like that itty bitty spot on the ruler, maybe you're not moving like a full 6 inches, but maybe you're moving 1 inch or 2 inches. That 1 inch or 2 inch shows improvement, right? Okay. So I know we've talked about it in a couple previous episodes, and I'm sure someone who is listening goes, do I have to listen to the other episodes? And the answer is no, but they're very informative, so I highly recommend. That is me tooting my own horn, and I would highly recommend listening to them. But these are some of the most common mistakes, right? So let me tell you some of the top mistakes that we see. We hear about, I'm sure sometimes the news will tell you, that is buying the tool before defining what you want the outcome to be. That's when something looks great. I think of it like, and I won't say the specific company, but think of it like this. There's a particular company where you can rent out things so you don't have to own them, right? And let's say it's cocktail attire for an event, right? And I'm going to tell you right now, I usually rent 1, 2, or 3 items because I want to make sure that this is going to work. It's going to look good, right? And that's the same idea. So you've bought this tool, it looks great, but it's just not really working for you or your team, right? The second thing is skipping the customer journey map, because a lot of what AI agents are meant to do is to help the customer journey along, is to make it consistently. Like I said, we want to move. We want to be like that tortuga. Slow and steady wins the race, right? Or maybe we can make it a little more, let's say, hare-like, rabbit-like, where it's going faster. Trying to automate a broken process, right? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's get in those weeds. Let's find out, why is this process not working, right? And of course, nobody wants a rogue AI agent. Nobody wants your agent suddenly, let's say, I don't know. You don't want an AI agent. And the only thing for some reason I can think of right now is if we think about music. Like, let's say your AI agent is for a radio station that plays rock. You don't want it all of a sudden to start recommending like pop or Tejano or Chaparral Roman is not full out rock and roll, right? And of course, there's no handoff plan. So customers get stuck. They go into the void. We don't want that. And there's no metrics because you cannot prove what your return on investment is, right? And so here's the thing I want to tell you. If you've done any of these, congratulations. You are absolutely normal. And the reason I say congratulations, you tried something, you move forward, now it's time. We learned, let's do something different. But it does not mean that you don't need more AI. I think you just need better placement with a clear purpose. All right, so I am going to give you 2 quick examples, right? And I keep talking about misleads because there are very few businesses I know that if you don't talk to them, they're like, well, we could always do some more leads. Or I know very few businesses like, we have so many sales, we're just overwhelmed. And if they tell me they have so many sales, they're like, yeah, but we need to have a better onboarding process, right? So, we had a client, they were getting lots of inquiries, website forms, DMs. They were missing calls. Their replies were late. Guess what happens? Customers move on. I can sit here and tell you I was on a call last week with somebody who said, like, I can literally show you, we replied in 15 minutes and they said we weren't fast enough. So what is the best fit for this agent, right? That is capture, qualify, and book. So depending on how, you have web chat, you have SMS follow-up or voice, depending on your business. And of course, what is the success metric that we're going to look at? Are your response time down? Are your book calls up? Right? That's one. Now, another one that we had was a client that their support requests were eating their team alive, right? They're just going through. And the thing is, they're getting these requests. They're not really able to do anything. There's no triage. It's just crazy. Like, and I say triage. I want you to think about the last time you had something where it said, hey, I'm assuming most of us pay electric bills, internet bills, whatever. you didn't have that simple reminder, things to go through, right? So what is the best fit for this? Well, we're looking for triage. So frequently asked questions, ticket routing, and summary. So we're looking for help desk, agent inbox, right? Or inbox agent, sorry, I said that backwards. What is the success metric? Like, how are we going to say, hey, this worked better? That's fewer tickets reaching humans and faster resolution, right? So I want you to think about these are different problems, different agents, different placement. And that's why let's just grab that chatbot or, hey, I heard about this one is not particularly the right thing to do. Okay. Now, I am imagining that you might be thinking, if you're SMB, medium size, or your tech stack, here's the thing. If you're saying, man, I would love to get an AI agent, but you are talking about something that possibly might be, I might be having some champagne wishes on a beer budget, you know. But I want to tell you something, yes, agents can be expensive. And if you choose the wrong one and you have to rebuild, you are going to waste money, dinero, that bag. We don't want to do that. So that is why I highly recommend making sure that you go through these questions. And I have a huge list of them. Obviously, I'm going to promote our AI agent matchmaking session because it helps you avoid that. Another common thing that I get, which I kind of touched on just, is, well, we're a small business. Like, small businesses actually can benefit the most because you do not have extra staff and you have the capability to leverage these AIs. There's not so many people to go through. Like, you have ways to make this work for you. And you can see that ROI pretty quickly. I also love the question, well, what if I'm not techie, right? Well, perfect, because we're going to help you through that step, right? We are going to translate a plan for you that is not going to be overly techie, that is going to help you get from point A to point Z or zebra as quickly as possible. And then my personal favorite, what if I'm worried about security? Well, that is why we talk about guardrails and system choices, because we want to build around your risk comfort. Okay, so I went over some of the questions that we cover, and these are questions that I would highly recommend you ask yourself. Like, we are in the tail end of this year, and AI agents, obviously, AI is everywhere. I feel like it is the word of the year. Everybody's using ChatGPT, Copilot, and Gemini and everything. And so here is my thing. If you are ready to stop guessing and start placing AI where it actually creates results, take advantage of our AI agent matchmaking session. Depending on when this comes out, depends on what our discount is. We had a great discount for Black Friday. We had a different discount for Cyber Monday, and we will have a discount until, I like to say, Christmas Eve, or, I always like to say my family waits to get Christmas gifts until Mary's water broke. I do not highly recommend that. We are the Christmas Eve shoppers. Pray for us all. But this will get you some results, and you will be ready to start the new year with a bang, ready to go. So in this session, you get a clear recommendation for the right AI agent type for you. We go over what are the priority use cases that are going to work best for you. Obviously, we're going to go over boundaries and a handoff plan. We're going to give you a simple 3 to 5 step implementation roadmap. Like, here's what we recommend you do. And we're going to give you a great post-call summary, so you're not stuck trying to remember everything. And familia, my Tech and Tequila listeners, remember, the price will increase on January 1st of 2026. So I would recommend doing it right now. Book now. So check the show notes, look at our Instagram account, or pretty well anywhere. I've got it all over all of our socials. Or DM us the words AI agent, and we will send you the link to the information. Now, that is a lot of information covered. I gave you some food for thought. It's my personal thing to do. I love when I get off a podcast and I think, wow, I need to re-listen to that or listen to more. But this episode helped you. Share it with a friend who keeps saying we should use AI, but hasn't made the move. And don't forget to subscribe because we drop a new episode every week. Lord help us all. These holidays have been trying. And your girl, unfortunately, has been feeling muy enfermo, been a little sick and a little under the weather. So until next time, stay connected, stay protected. And of course, remember that your technology does not have to be cold. Your technology can help you build comunidad, and you can have tech con corazón, tech with heart. So salud, familia. I hope everyone's having a wonderful holiday season. I look forward to speaking with you next week.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Tech and Tequila. I hope you enjoyed our conversation today. To stay updated about all things tech and more, don't forget to visit us at our website, shelbyts.com. If you loved what you heard, remember to show your support by liking, sharing, and subscribing to our podcast. Your 5-star ratings and reviews mean the world to us and help us to reach more listeners just like you. So muchas gracias again for joining us with Tech and Tequila. Thank you so much. You learned a lot about tech, and maybe you had a nice drink of tequila.